Welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Bad Bitches. Brianna and
Lydia!
Today we are reading Reddit stories from people on Reddit. We do actually have a listener write-in. We are going to save that one for the end because I think it is pretty crazy. All right, so first story today. French/Latin voice in my girlfriend's room while she sleeps. Try not to make so much background noise. Your cap. Just to clarify, I don't believe in any sort of paranormal stuff myself. However, recently I've been hearing a strange, almost singing-like voice while while my girlfriend sleeps. Oh no, step bro, I'm stuck. I installed a camera in my girlfriend's room. Oh.
Suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. I don't know how to beatbox, so I'm gonna give that back to you.
I'm just winging it over here. I installed a camera in my girlfriend's room for Valentine's Day because we do medium distance, and so I can check up on her. She has struggled with mental issues her whole life, so I like to keep an eye on her. She also said that she often feels alone, so we both came to the idea of installing a camera. I partially feel like that's a lie. I feel like you installed a camera into your girlfriend's room, because if you're hearing voices like that while she sleeps, why haven't you talked to her about it?
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know you have a fucking camera in her room. Red flags! Red flags! She also struggles to sleep and occasionally has nightmares, so she feels safer when I'm watching. And I can call her when she's having a bad nightmare again. However, a week ago, I heard a voice. However, a week ago, I heard a weird singing voice in my girlfriend's room that sounded French or Latin-like. It was a woman, and the voice was quite high and whispery. It sounded malicious and sounded really serious. There also was an emphasis on certain words. It sounded almost like a motherly voice, and it lasted the entire night. I feel like that's slightly contradicting. Like, it sounds, like, malevolent and serious, but a motherly voice.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, just with the, like, saying, it's malevolent. Oh, wait, but it sounds like a motherly voice. But, like, I don't know, like, it can't be both.
I've heard it twice already in 2 weeks. She also used to be very spiritual. I also couldn't record the sound, which I usually always can. Her family also originally comes from France. I guess the only comment, it says, huh? If you had recorded it, I could have tried to translate it in French. It's weird that you describe the voice as singing, malicious, and motherly. Trying to imagine a malicious, motherly singing voice, I guess an angry French diva mother sounds like my Mimi, R.I.P. I guess I don't know how French mothers act, so. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that would be terrifying. Like, if I heard a voice, like, while Brenner was sleeping, I don't think I'd be able to sleep next to him ever again without, like, blessing the house. But I also feel like this may not be a real story. Yeah. I feel like he's almost trying to justify having a camera in his girlfriend's room. So he made up a story to make himself feel better. Sorry, I'd never let a boyfriend put a camera in my room. Unless it was for the both of us. So the next story is, I never told anyone about this. Sorry for the long story. I used to fuck up. A lot. My father used to be a drug addict and was addicted to heroin. He tried to kick it when I was a teen, but ended up relapsing and going into rehab. My father had problems, sure, but he was a great person. By the time I finished high school, I was a completely unorganized person. I had no sense of direction for myself, and I ended up partying a lot and started doing drugs and getting drunk as much as I possibly could. I ended up going to some bullshit trade school to become a medical assistant. Lord only knows I was not ready to be in school, but I knew I had to do something. My uncle had just passed away inside of my aunt's guest house from cancer. After his services, my aunt offered me the guest house to stay in while I was going through school as a favor to my father. She said my father agreed to give her money for rent while I stood there and worked on getting my shit together. I packed all my stuff and moved in over the next few nights. While I was staying at my aunt's, my father was staying at my grandparents' house. He didn't have a bed and he would always sleep on the lazy lazy boy couch, and he would often tell me, "Would you mind if I stay with you for the night so I can get like good night's rest?" And I would always come to the excuse to say no. I would always say that I was studying when I really wasn't. Truth be told, I was just enjoying my time alone for once, and I would always feel guilty, but it never stopped me. During my time of so-called independence, I made a lot of poor choices. One night in particular stood out. My friend had invited me to a party, and despite knowing the better choice was to stay home and get ready for an important test at the end of my third module for school, I decided that I was going out with my friends. At the party, there were a lot of people, and me trying to be cool guy, I decided that I was going to spend all of my money on cocaine and alcohol. Wow. I ended up getting drunk, high. I got so coked out of my damn mind that I can't even recall to this day how I got home. What I remember is this. I walked into the guest house. What are you doing?
Sorry.
I just look over. We just got our nails did. Nails did. I walked into the guest house. Well, more like stumbled into the guest house. I got into some shorts and a shirt to sleep in and laid down on the bed. As I was laying down, I cracked open the window that was directly on the right side of me because my body was overheating. The window was right where my head was resting, so if I looked to my right, I was looking directly out of it. I started to close my eyes, but as I did, I kept hearing footsteps outside. I kept looking outside the window, but every time I did, I'd see nothing. Every time I closed my eyes, the footsteps got louder and louder and closer and closer. It got to the point where they were so close I had completely sat up and looked out the window to see if anybody was there. As I was sitting up looking out the window, I felt the blanket of my chest slowly start to fall down, but I'm so fixated at trying to see if anybody's outside that I'm not questioning why the blanket is falling down. Still looking out the window, I decided to pull up the blanket back up to my chest. I remember the temperature suddenly got extremely cold. As I reached down to grab the blanket to pull it back up, I grabbed what felt like an extremely cold and lifeless hand. I remember thinking to myself, wait, if my hand is grabbing my other hand, and the other hand is right here next to me, then whose cold-ass hand am I grabbing? I love how he worded that, though, because, like, just, like, sitting there, like, drunk, you're just like, wait, if my hand's here, my other hand's over here, who the fuck's hand am I grabbing? You know, like, I feel like he wrote that so well, because, like, so realistic, because that's how I would think about it if I was drunk and shit, like. And before I could look down to see whose hand I'm grabbing, I remember getting yanked by the neck of my shirt and getting pulled forward pretty damn hard. I also remember hearing a very loud and very threatening grunt. I jumped out of my bed in extreme panic and ran to the corner of the room. So much tension was in the air, and every time I would blink, I would see my uncle's face looking at me with such hate and disappointment. So much fear had taken over my body that I was unable to move. After about 15 minutes of being petrified still, I slowly walked over to the door, turned on the lights, and slowly got myself together to ask myself, did that actually just happen, or is it just the drugs fucking with me? So far, what do you think about this?
So in my personal opinion, I feel like, especially with cocaine mixed with alcohol, your mind plays so many tricks on you. And I don't know, I just feel like he was hallucinating. So, I mean, it's just out of the blue. Like, I feel like things would go on that would lead up to that moment, but not to just, like, boom, everything happens right away.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. I've never been under the influence of cocaine and being drunk at the same time.
Neither have I.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly, like, what it is to be on both those substances at the same time. So I can't tell for sure what this guy's going through. So if you've ever, you know, done stuff, let me know if hallucinating is a part of the side effects. I kept trying to convince myself that it was just the drugs and I didn't actually experience what I thought I did. The only thing that didn't make sense was the neck hole to my shirt was stretched out. Yo. It kept messing with my head because it was physical evidence that was contradicting everything that I was trying to convince myself of. Unless he was, like, so fucking hot that he, like, accidentally stretched it out on his own. Like, being that drunk and in and out of it, like, he might have. I stood up for hours by myself and I couldn't help but cry. It was like suddenly realized how bad I was messing up and suddenly realized how selfish I was being. After that, I was very quiet the next day, practically didn't say anything or speak a single word for the next 24 hours. I couldn't sleep in the guest house because I was too frightened, and I told my aunt that I was going to sleep on her couch because I needed to be around people, and I didn't tell anybody what I had experienced. That night, I was in a deep sleep when I suddenly started to get really cold again. I remember waking up, and as soon as my eyes opened, I felt something blow cold air into my ear, and I heard footsteps running away. Fuck that. No thanks. I looked up and I looked into that direction and I heard footsteps going in, and I remember seeing the all-white figure running away and fading into the wall. I was so sleep deprived from the previous night that I didn't even have enough energy to react to it. I just took a deep note of it and went back to sleep. That's what I probably would have done. Sleep deprived, I can sleep through anything. My life could be in risk and in danger, and I would still fucking rather sleep. My sleep deprivation for me is no joke. You can ask Brenner. When I don't get enough sleep, my entire personality is changed. Like, my motivation,
Goes downhill.
my personality, everything. I become a completely different person.
I don't know. Have you ever got, like, so tired and sleep deprived to, like, where, like, you, like, your mind just kept going and, like, have you ever hallucinated things?
No.
I don't know. I feel like with alcohol and cocaine still in your system, plus being sleep deprived, still makes your brain so active and, like, keeps you going. And that, like, the footsteps probably were real. I don't know. It just, like, I don't know if I believe this story or not.
Really?
Yeah.
I do. You want to hear one of the comments before you judge your opinion on it?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the comments said, well, I'll just read you the ones that are important in my perspective. Perhaps it was your uncle trying to shape you up. Surprised he didn't sock you in the face. This one, and I agree with this. Drugs can sometimes be a gateway to the paranormal dimension. I don't doubt your experiences were very real. I don't know if you've heard of, like, microdosing or, like, shrooms or acid or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are hallucinogenics.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that right? Hallucinogenics?
I believe so.
I'm thinking about it too hard now. Hallucinogens. Fuck, that's not right either. Oh well, they make you hallucinate. But I feel like with his experience and, like, his history, I guarantee you this story is real. And, like, the fact that he's, like, not overdoing the details per se, if that makes sense. Like, he's basically saying, like, this happened and then this happened, so it debunked everything I was trying to say, and then this happened and I was so tired I couldn't even react. Like, I think this one's actually real.
I don't know. Drugs can do a lot to your brain, like, especially, like, with hallucinations. I don't know. Yes, it can be real, but if he wasn't such a partier and, like, did cocaine and so many drugs, then I feel like it could be a real experience, but to me, it's just the drugs talking.
I'm about to say something really controversial. Trigger warning, I'm talking about sexual assault next. So you're saying that if she was half naked and hammered and someone raped her...
Oh, you're starting this argument?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't debunk somebody's experience just because of their intoxication level.
But you definitely can.
But you can't.
No, it's two different situations.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No. You can't have a double standard for one of them. That's like saying that a guy that was drunk had sex with a sober woman wasn't raped when he was also under the influence. It's like a double standard. You can't say yes for one thing. No, you can't say yes for one thing and not the other.
I'm not.
I know hallucinogens can cause like different kind of experiences, but I think what he went through was real, and I'm not going to say that he didn't, because even a couple nights later he went through the same thing, and he wasn't drunk, and he wasn't high on coke.
It's just about to get real. I don't even know how to respond to you right now.
Why? Because
Okay, if you took shrooms, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You took too many and you had a history with taking them, so you were dependent on them.
You can't be dependent on shrooms.
Okay, well, what's that word called then?
That's a mental addiction. Because you like the feeling of it. Like, you mentally can addict yourself to drugs, even though they're non-addictive.
Is that the right word to use though? I don't know.
Yeah, mental addiction.
Okay, mental addiction.
Because,
Okay.
like, my thing is, like, there's a reason I don't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Because I look forward to the feeling of being drunk.
Right.
That's why I choose not to drink alcohol as often as I normally do.
I'm just not gonna talk anymore.
Why? Am I interrupting you?
No, you're fine. It's just such a big topic that I don't want to go into.
Do it.
No.
Do it.
No.
Quick interruption. If you guys like to listen or watch our videos, please feel free to like them. If you think there's anything we can improve on, please comment down below and tell us why. And if you guys are cool, you guys will subscribe and follow along for this amazing journey that we're on. And we're just super excited to see where this goes. Saw a face in the closet. Hi everyone, I've been meaning to post this for years, but I haven't gotten around to it, so I guess now is the time. So to start this story off, it happened in 2015, shortly after my baby cousin was born. How come it's always after babies are born? I went to stay with my aunt and her boyfriend to help out for the first few days of her being back from the hospital. I've never been to this house before as they just moved in. This house is an older one-story house, and in the house at the time was me, my aunt, her boyfriend, the baby, and 2 pets, a cat and a dog, small Pomeranian. Fast forward to nighttime. I was trying to sleep, but I kept hearing weird banging, scratching, and what sounded like 2 male voices talking beside me / in front of me. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but I knew it wasn't my aunt and her boyfriend because it was about 2 a.m. and they were fast asleep. Also, their room was directly behind me since I was sleeping in the living room. I remember being freaked out about all of the noises I was hearing and just decided to ignore it and tried to sleep. It wasn't until I heard a large bang on the door in front of me that really unsettled me. Out of nowhere, directly where the bang was, a child-sized handprint appeared on the glass door. I swear it wasn't there before, and it makes no sense how it would have been there since there were no kids in the house, aside from the 2-day-old baby. I ended up taking the photo with flash on, while in the dark, without moving the couch. This was kind of dumb because since I took it with the flash, you couldn't see the handprint at all through the glass. However, I'm so glad that I did, and I'm even more glad I didn't look at the photo until I woke up. What I saw actually scared the hell out of me. I still have the photo, which I'll be posting here in the comments, but I also retook a photo of the handprint. But what I saw was what looked like a face smiling creepily at me through the glass inside the closet. That was right beside the front door. Needless to say, I left the same day, LMAO, but when I showed this to my family, no one believed me and told me that the reflection was just of the dog. The small Pomeranian dog, by the way. Anyway, if anyone can actually see the face too, please let me know because it is something that has always freaked me out. Oh, and my aunt told me that an older man died in the house a few years back. I would have liked to know that before I came over. They've since moved from that house, but it seems like I'm the only one that's ever experienced anything like this while there. Here's the picture. So this is before the edit. And that little glass there. And then I adjusted it.
Bro, why does that look like Pennywise?
I think it looks like an alien. Like the big eyes and like the nose and mouth.
That looks like Pennywise.
Yeah, I mean you can barely see it. That's why I had to change it so dramatically. And then this is the handprint that he saw.
Yeah, fucking Pomeranian did that in my ass.
I know someone commented saying, "Oh, with how close the prints are, it looks like a dog print."
For a Pomeranian?
Bitch, those are straight up fingerprints. The fuck? That print looks more like a paw print because of the spread of the print. But yeah, so there's that. He even posted a picture of his Pomeranian.
I'm sorry. A dog that size cannot make a 5-fingerprint handprint. Like, that's just not possible. I don't know. I definitely feel like the banging on the door, I'd be out of there the second for that.
I did not realize my neighbor's mother passed away the day before I saw her in their window. I have known my neighbor since I had moved into the house right in front of her about 3 years ago. She is in her mid-40s and lives alone with her mother. They are extremely fun people, and I invite myself and my kids to their get-togethers on occasion. I met her mother multiple times. She was in her 70s and a vibrant woman as well. She always had a smile on her face. Last Friday, I returned home from a business trip, and my neighbor's mother would love to sit in the niche by their dining room and stare out the window. It was dark outside, and getting out of my truck, I see the backlit shadow of my neighbor's mother. I waved, and she quickly waved back as well. I didn't see my neighbor's car in the driveway, which I thought was weird because she would never leave her mom home alone because of her risk of falling. She had already fell a few times and broke her hip once. The next morning, I see my neighbor and I just asked how her mom was doing. She informed me that her mom passed away Thursday morning and that she hadn't seen me since I had been out of town. I froze. I did not tell her what I saw the evening before, but I still get goosebumps thinking about it.
I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. Like, I'm sure they like had a waiting bond or something, and then the day she passes, the day after that, he returns, he sees her, she's just where she belongs. Like, I think that's really cool.
All right, next story. Can you explain this? So I have been thinking back to an experience I had when I was 11. I had the upstairs room in my parents' house, and one night I heard footsteps coming up the stairs. It was noticeable enough when I called out thinking it was my mother. I then heard my name repeatedly whispered in my ear as if a person was standing right next to me. This continued for several weeks until it finally ceased. I think back to it, and I can't really give another explanation that it was anything other than a paranormal event. Do people have singular instances of psychosis? I am 31 now, and I've never experienced anything like this before or again. I feel like children have a lot of those.
Yeah.
Now, we're gonna read our listener write-in. Are you guys ready? So we had a listener write in their experience with a Ouija board. My experience with the demon ZOZO, gonna be a long one, folks. About maybe 2 years ago, me and my girlfriend were on a Ouija board. Bearing in mind, we were always respectful, we said goodbye, and we used protection spells before and after, etc. About a month after, I started noticing things happening in my house, and they were only happening to me due to me not being very strong mentally. The first thing that happened was our knife block started to turn on the kitchen side. At that time, I had cardboard boxes in my hand, and my girlfriend just walked into the room and saw it. The second thing that happened was I was in bed, relaxing, watching television. My girlfriend was fast asleep. In the corner of the room was my girlfriend's facial steamer in a box. That was thrown across the room, and none of us were near it. Very scary experience. Our third experience was me and my girlfriend were watching TV in the living room, and we heard that the tap came on in the kitchen. I went in the kitchen, and the tap was on full whack, and none of us had been near it. Keep in mind, she's British. So, full whack.
Whack.
No respect to you, or no disrespect for you.
British people are cool.
No disrespect. Thanks for the story, Dottie. At this point, we both had enough and contacted a medium. A medium came around the property and explained that a dark entity had left the board and attached itself to me and the house. He explained that the entity was lingering in the back room upstairs, which was quite strange because every time I went up there, it felt like somebody was watching me. The medium suggested that we do a seance that banished the entity, so we gathered all of the materials we needed, and me and my 3 friends who are pagans started to the seance. During the seance, we had to hold hands and banish the entity using our voices. As we did this, I could feel my hands slipping from my friends, like somebody was forcing our hands apart. Also in the corner of the room was loud bangs and our blind started to move. It was very disturbing and scary at the time. I will not use a Ouija board again. It can be very dangerous. For anyone wanting to use a board, please use at your own risk. Even with the correct things in place, the entity still managed to escape the board. Now, this is from Spirit Chasers UK. That's another paranormal investigation group that actually just started it. If you want to go follow them on TikTok, it's just Spirit Chasers UK. Tell them Brianna sent you because I don't think they followed me back. And I'm a little salty about it. So, that is it for today's episode.
Peace!